Everybody keeps talking about AI replacing all workers and all that sort of thing. And there is one thing that AI actually cannot do at this particular moment. I don't know if it'll ever be able to do this. And so I think on some level, at least some human work is quote unquote safe. And I want to explain this from the perspective of personal training because I think this is a really good example. Personal training is something that lots of people do online, but lots of people still do in person. You can get a pretty great personal training experience online. You can get a workout plan, you can get reminders, you can get all of that stuff. And yet, people still get in person personal training. They still go to the gym with somebody, they still take group workout classes. And why do they do that? They do that because of social accountability. Social accountability is basically, hey, I'm going to show up because somebody's going to be there who's expecting me to be there. And they have some level of, I look up to them in this particular area in some way. I respect their expertise and I feel like they're going to be disappointed or I'm going to let them down if I don't show up. Social accountability works in so many different areas of life. It works in meetings, right? So a lot of times, a project manager will set a regular meeting cadence, not because the meeting is useful in any way, but if you've been a project manager for long enough, you realize that oftentimes when people aren't getting their deadlines achieved, when they aren't, accomplishing their objectives on their own, you set a meeting and all of a sudden people get all their stuff together before the meeting and they will come prepared because they have that respect or that social accountability of going, oh man, I got to get it ready in time for the meeting. Or they'll do it in the meeting because they have the social accountability of the other people being there. And so AI at this point does not provide social accountability. You can create all the reminder apps and all the, ooh, we solved project planning and you'll never be late on a project again. You can do all that kind of marketing and messaging around a reminder bot system. And there's 1,000 different remind me apps and to do apps and this and that and the other thing. And the real reason that those aren't 100% effective and we haven't just like eliminated this need for meetings and social accountability and all that sort of thing is because we just don't respect a notification the same way we respect another person. We don't have the same sort of biologically indwelt need to please that person, to be part of the social hierarchy, to participate societally with them. And so until AI gets to the point, and it possibly will get to the point where it is so nuanced and it's so integrated into the fabric of our social structure and it so has its own personalities and identities that we really respect and don't want to let down and all that sort of thing. Once that is the case, it may be able to start replacing some of these frameworks that require social this like just social pressure and this social accountability. But until that point, we are still going to need people. And so I think that, what a lot of people don't realize is how significant social accountability actually is to getting a project done or staying consistent with something or getting inspired. I just don't think that people have it on the whole led enough big initiatives or run enough projects to recognize how key it actually is to getting things done, not only to identifying what we want to do, but also getting everyone galvanized and on the same page and aligned to make sure that they are ready to go. They need that social accountability to actually jump on the bandwagon, adopt the plan, and start marching forward. We need that social accountability as we're going through the project and we hit some stuck points, all that sort of thing. And so that is something that, it is so much easier and cheaper to just hire, In a lot of cases, marketing agency from across the country or whatever. Yet all sorts of people call up my company and say, "Hey, we want to work with you because you're down the street or whatever." And that really does work because there's something about being in the same geographical location, being in the same communities, having the same social groups that causes us to have this sort of like reactivity mutually that actually causes things to get done in a powerful way because of that community engagement. I don't know why any of that is. I don't know, but I just know that you can't replace it as easily with bots. And so I think that just like, certainly on the availability of online training, online personal fitness plans, all that sort of thing, it has for many people replaced in-person trainers. So certainly the amount of in-person trainers that are required to be, hired or in place has been reduced. There's also all sorts of people who are sort of maintaining all those online training platforms and systems and things like that. But the social accountability of the in-person, personal training system, man, it's still really, really valuable. And I think this social accountability component is what people don't realize is not going to be replaced so easily. So we're actually going to have sort of this lopsided effect where it's like, yes, an AI could do all this stuff, but we can't get the attention, we can't get the alignment, we can't get the prioritization to actually get it done unless we get a human involved. And so I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch, but that's the one thing that, no matter how good AI gets, that's the thing it's not able to do. And that's the thing that I think we are underestimating that it can't replace, at least for now.